Have you ever wondered why some situations cut so deeply into your heart? Why a single word, a look, or a silence can feel like a wound opening all over again? This isn't about being weak. This isn't about being too sensitive. It's a sign, an internal echo of something that hasn't yet been healed. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That quote holds a truth most people never realize until it's too late. Emotional pain, when buried and left untreated, doesn't disappear. It hides. It camouflages itself in your behaviors, your habits, your relationships, and especially in your triggers. What you do not face, you will repeat. Again and again. Today we'll uncover the first signs that you may be living with unhealed emotional wounds. And remember, recognizing these signs is not a declaration of brokenness. It's the beginning of freedom. It means your soul is finally ready to understand itself. Let's begin. You overreact to small things. Have you ever felt your heart race, your hands shake, or your voice tremble because someone said something ordinary? Perhaps someone made a joke, a comment, or even asked a question, and something inside of you exploded. This is one of the clearest signs of an emotional wound. Your reaction is not just to the moment, you're reacting to the past. Our emotional system stores unresolved pain like a ticking time bomb. When a present situation resembles a past trauma, even subtly, your nervous system interprets it as a threat. Your body doesn't distinguish between past and present. It reacts the same way it did the first time it got hurt. The mind says, "This isn't a big deal." The body says, "We're in danger again." And just like that, you snap, withdraw, cry, or spiral. This is not madness. This is memory. This is pain reminding you that it's still there, waiting to be heard. You avoid conflict at all costs. You say it's okay when it's not. You smile even when you want to scream. You hold it in because expressing it feels unsafe. Many people who carry emotional wounds learned early in life that speaking up leads to rejection, punishment, or abandonment. Maybe your parents yelled. Maybe your needs were ignored. Maybe love was given only when you were obedient or quiet. Now, as an adult, your brain still believes, if I express discomfort, I might lose love. This pattern is called fawning in trauma psychology. It's the survival response of pleasing others to avoid danger. And while it kept you safe in the past, it's now blocking your healing. Peace without truth is not peace. It's suppression. Healing begins when you understand that your voice has value and conflict is not the same as danger. You're allowed to disagree. You're allowed to speak. You attract emotionally unavailable people. Have you noticed a pattern in your relationships where you fall for people who can't love you back fully? People who are distant, hot and cold, or simply not present? This is not bad luck. This is a wound trying to recreate itself. According to Carl Jung, the psyche repeats unresolved pain not to punish us, but to awaken us. Your unconscious mind may be trying to recreate the emotional climate of your childhood, especially if you were loved conditionally or neglected. You pursue people who feel familiar because that kind of pain is what your nervous system understands. It feels like home. But the truth is this: familiarity is not always healthy. The fact that someone feels right doesn't mean they are right for you. Sometimes your wound is choosing for you, and the healing begins when you start choosing based on your worth, not your wounds. You numb yourself to feel okay. Let's be honest. How often do you distract yourself just to avoid being alone with your thoughts? Social media, food, alcohol, endless tasks. These are not the problem. The problem is when they become armor. Armor against your own emotions. When emotional pain isn't processed, it turns into emotional noise, restlessness, anxiety, and emptiness. And to escape that noise, we often choose numbing behaviors. But here's a truth no one wants to hear. What you don't feel, you cannot heal. Your emotions are messengers, even the painful ones. Grief says you lost something precious. Anger says something unfair happened. Sadness says you need to release something. When you numb these signals, you silence your truth, and your healing becomes delayed. Jung believed that the shadow, the part of us that hides in the unconscious, is not evil. It's just the part of us we refuse to look at. And when you finally stop running, stop numbing, and sit with what hurts, that's when your shadow becomes your teacher. You sabotage good things. This one is hard to admit, but powerful to understand. How many times has life started to go right, and suddenly you panic, you question it, you overthink it, you sabotage it, you push love away, you avoid the job opportunity, you start a fight in the middle of peace. Why? Because when you've spent years in survival mode, peace feels unfamiliar. Your system has learned to find comfort in chaos. So when calm enters, it feels unsafe. You think this can't last. You think, I don't deserve this. You wait for the other shoe to drop, so you drop it yourself first. This is self-sabotage born from trauma. It's not about laziness or fear of success. It's about a wound that says, good things are not for me. But you can unlearn this. You can teach your nervous system that love doesn't mean pain, that joy doesn't mean danger, that you don't have to earn peace. You simply have to allow it. And here's a powerful affirmation to remind yourself, I am not responsible for what happened to me, but I am responsible for how I choose to heal. You struggle to trust, even when people give you no reason to doubt. There are moments when someone shows you kindness, presence, or care, and yet deep inside you feel fear. You start to question their motives. You wonder if it's real. You wait for the betrayal that never comes, because your past already taught you to expect it. This is what happens when betrayal, neglect, or emotional abandonment left a deep mark on your heart. Even when someone gives you peace, your nervous system is still waiting for danger. You're not responding to them. You're responding to the people who hurt you, ignored your needs, or disappeared without warning. Carl Jung believed that every individual has a personal unconscious filled with repressed memories and emotional experiences. If those experiences taught you that love is unsafe, trust becomes a risk, even when there's no threat in sight. Healing means understanding that your mistrust isn't about the current person. It's about the wounded version of you who still needs protection. That part of you doesn't need to be silenced. It needs to be comforted, reassured, and slowly brought back into the present. You can begin with this affirmation. Not everyone is my past. I am learning to trust the present without the filter of old wounds. 7. You fear being alone, but you also fear being close. This is the paradox of unhealed emotional pain. You feel lonely, yet intimacy makes you anxious. You crave connection, but the moment someone gets too close, you pull away, or worse, you push them away before they can leave you. This pattern is often rooted in attachment trauma. Maybe you experienced inconsistent caregiving, love that came and went without explanation, or maybe love was conditional, only given when you performed or behaved a certain way. This creates a nervous system that associates closeness with eventual abandonment. So now, as an adult, you live in emotional limbo. Alone feels painful, but connection feels dangerous. You're caught in a cycle, needing love, fearing love, sabotaging love. Carl Jung taught that integration, the process of becoming whole, requires us to face both our longing and our fear. You must meet the part of yourself that wants closeness and the part that wants distance and bring them into conversation. Neither is wrong. Both are parts of a wounded self seeking safety. And slowly, you can begin to whisper to yourself, I can be close and still be safe. I deserve connection that honors my soul. You feel like you're too much or never enough. Do you constantly worry that your emotions are overwhelming or that your presence is inadequate, not worthy, invisible? These conflicting beliefs often stem from the same source: emotional neglect. When your emotional needs weren't met in childhood, when you were told to stop crying, calm down, or be strong, you learned that your feelings were inconvenient. You began to believe that your existence needed to be smaller, quieter, easier for others to accept. Over time, this creates deep shame. Shame that whispers, "I'm a burden." Shame that says, "I have to earn love by being perfect." Or, "If I express who I truly am, I will be rejected." Jung believed that the path to wholeness includes embracing the parts of ourselves we were taught to hide. Your intensity, your softness, your vulnerability, these are not flaws. These are sacred expressions of your humanity. You were never too much, and you were never not enough. You were simply taught to believe a lie. So today, affirm this truth to yourself. I release the shame of being me. I honor my emotions. I am not too much and I'm not too little. I am worthy exactly as I am. Time. You constantly replay painful moments in your mind. You try to sleep, but your mind won't stop. You keep reliving conversations, failures, betrayals, or moments where you felt powerless. This mental loop is not just overthinking, it's emotional looping. When trauma remains unresolved, the mind keeps going back to the moment of the wound. Why? Because it's trying to process it. It's searching for safety, for logic, for resolution. But unresolved emotions cannot be solved through logic alone. They need compassion, presence, and expression. Jung said, "Neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering." This means that when you avoid truly feeling your emotional pain, it turns into symptoms: overthinking, anxiety, compulsive behavior. The loop continues because you haven't felt what the pain needed you to feel. Not think, feel. The solution isn't more thinking, it's emotional truth. It's saying, "That hurt me, that changed me, that moment needs to be grieved," and then allowing yourself to grieve, to cry, to write, to express. That's how the loop begins to end, when your heart realizes you're finally listening. 10. You feel disconnected from yourself. This is perhaps the deepest sign of all. When your emotional wounds are unhealed, you begin to lose connection with your essence. You don't know what you want. You feel numb. You go through life like a stranger in your own body. This disconnection is a trauma response called dissociation, your psyche's way of protecting you from overwhelming pain. But over time, it can make you feel empty, lost, or like you're simply surviving rather than living. Jung's teachings remind us that the journey of healing is the journey back to the self, your core, your truth, your soul. Healing doesn't mean becoming someone new. It means coming home to who you always were, before the pain, before the shame, before the silence. It starts by reconnecting with your body, through breath, through grounding, through stillness. It continues by asking, what do I feel? What do I need? What do I truly desire, not to please others, but to feed my soul? Every time you honor your truth, you step closer to yourself. You don't need to find yourself. You need to return to yourself. And here's your reminder. I am not broken. I'm becoming whole. Every part of me deserves love. You've made it this far because something inside of you recognizes these signs. Maybe you didn't know you had unhealed emotional wounds, or perhaps you knew but didn't know how to. Name it, understand it, or release it. What you felt wasn't weakness. It was your soul asking for help. Carl Jung once said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." That means emotional pain isn't the end of your story, but the portal to a deeper, more authentic, and freer version of yourself. Each of the 10 signs you've discovered is a map pointing to the parts of you that have been ignored, silenced, or rejected. They are messages from your unconscious saying, here there is still something that needs to be embraced. And what is the next step? Start by looking at yourself with compassion. Healing doesn't mean blaming those who hurt you. It's not about revenge or punishment. It's about breaking the cycle, not passing on to others what destroyed you. It's about taking your story, with all its cracks, and transforming it into a force of love and awareness. Jung spoke of the process of individuation, the journey of becoming whole by integrating what we've denied, hidden, or feared. He believed that only when we face our shadow, the parts of ourselves we've rejected, can we truly live in freedom. So now let me tell you this. You are not weak for feeling. You are not broken for having wounds. You are not a failure because it's hard for you to trust, love, or express what you feel. You are human. You are someone who experienced things that left marks. And now, you are someone with the courage to see those marks in the light of day. Your pain does not define your future. What defines your future is what you choose to do with that pain. You can turn it into wisdom, into sensitivity, into compassion. And with every step of awareness, you become a more whole, present, alive person. Here are some final affirmations to accompany you on this path of transformation. The pain I've lived through no longer controls my present. I can feel, fear, and still choose love. Every emotion of mine is valid and deserves space. I am learning to trust myself, little by little, with respect. I don't have to be perfect to deserve peace. My story has value, even the hard parts. I am healing. I am growing. I am coming home to myself. You don't have to do it all in one day. Healing is not a straight line. There are setbacks. There are days of exhaustion. There are moments when it seems like nothing is progressing, but you are not going backwards. You are digging deeper. You are building stronger roots. You are the home you were looking for. And every time you choose to listen to your heart instead of silencing it, every time you choose to care for yourself instead of judge yourself, every time you choose to feel instead of run away, you are healing. You are transforming your story. You are waking up to a new consciousness. And as Jung would say, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Make it conscious. Look at yourself with love and remember, what hurt you does not define you. What you do with that hurt does. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What part of your story are you ready to heal? Today, drop a comment below. Let's start a conversation and support each other on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe to Healing Echoes for more insights and wisdom on emotional healing and self-discovery. Take care. And remember, the healing process starts within you.